start off with the role of inspiration. 4 ideas. We'll start off with idea number 1. Good parenting is underrated. You need to realize that you need the parents' help. Our students are just a reflection of their parents. Every single parent workshop I ever conduct, I always point this out. Everybody repeat after me. Parents' friend.
Parents' friend.
24/7, 365, 8,760. There are 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's 8,760 hours in a year. 6, 5, 180, 1,080. There are 6 hours in a typical school day, 5 days a week. 180 days a year equals 1,080 hours in a typical school year. Subtract 1,080 from 8,760, you get 7,680 hours. The child is with the parent, not the teacher. Who's the problem? When I do parent workshops, that's not the way I put it. I put it this way. I say, no matter what I do as your child's teacher, you are 7 times more important than me. You ever see the movie Jerry Maguire? This is what I say. Help me help you. He's going to live with you the rest of his life if he doesn't get a good education. It all starts at home. I think of that Mark Twain quote. He says when he was 18, his parents didn't know anything. When he was 21, he couldn't believe how much his parents had learned in 3 years. And now that I'm a parent, I really, truly appreciate all the hard work my parents did. My parents are an interesting couple. My father is like Rain Man. My mother is an actress. You know, my father, my entire childhood, I always remember, he always sat in his recliner. He had a glass of scotch beside him. He's a librarian, so he reads all the time. So he always has a book in front of him. He's always listening to his opera on his headset. My mother, my brother, my sister, and I would be talking to him on the couch, and we'd have the TV on. And now that I'm a parent, I really appreciate that glass of scotch that was always beside my father. My mother is an actress, and she never shuts up. Who do you think I take after? You know, people say, you talk a lot, Danny. I'm like, well, I never had a chance growing up. My mother has read aloud every single piece of mail she's ever received. Hey, Danny, you remember Mrs. Huttenagel? She died 4 years before you were born. I got a letter from her daughter. You want me to read it to you? And she reads the whole letter to me. I have no interest in this woman. She reads every newspaper article she ever comes across. Hey, Danny, you see the Lakers won last night? Yeah, Mom, I read the article. Hey, Shaq scored 38. Did you read that? Mom, I read the article. Kobe had 10 assists. Did you read that? She gets more and more excited. I read the article, Mother. But I look at my parents, and they did some basic things, and I always tell parents, you don't need a PhD to be a good parent. You just have to care and do a couple of little basic things. First off, my parents have always played games with us. You know, hey, we'd be in the car. Hey, there's a Volkswagen Bug. Smack you in the arm. Look at license plates. Danny, what's your name start with? Duh. Point out signs that start with duh. I'm like, Dairy Queen, Dunkin' Donuts. I was an obese child. Eat dinner together as a family. Now I realize it's 2007. All of us have different work schedules. What I mean by this is there has to be some point in the day where the family comes together and the parent figures talk about their day and the children talk about their days. That oral language development is critical. Read in front of your kids. You know, my parents have always read in front of us all the time. They always had books in front of them. People used to ask my mom why she didn't own a dishwasher, and she said, I got 3, Danny, Jim, and Liz. And when we used to wash dishes, she used to read aloud to us all the time while we were washing dishes. It doesn't take a lot, folks. And then this was another thing my parents did, which I really appreciate now. Every Friday was party night. Every Friday is when my father got his paycheck, and my mother would take my brother, my sister, and me to the grocery store, and we each got to pick out an item. So I always picked out a big bag of Cheetos, my brother always picked out a tub of chocolate ice cream, and my sister always picked out asparagus. Incidentally, she's the one that works for the federal government now. And the rule on Friday nights was we turned off the TV, and we played board games, or we told stories, or we had sock fights. And those are the memories I have of my childhood with my family. It's very important.